Disturbing story in the news today. An inmate at an Arizona prison stabbed and sexually assaulted a teacher after she administered a high school equivalency test. The attack occurred in January at the Iman State Prison complex in Florence, Arizona, southeast of Phoenix, according to documents obtained by the Associated Press. The female teacher was alone in a room with half-dozen sex offenders in an area of the prison called the Meadows Unit. The unit is home to more than 1,000 rapists, child molesters, and other sexual predators. The suspect, Jacob Harvey, waited for the other inmates to leave the room before stabbing the teacher in the head with a pen and sexually assaulting her. After the teacher's call for help over the radio went unanswered, the suspect let her use a phone to call for help. An Arizona Department of Corrections spokesperson said no one was disciplined. He also said not having a guard in classrooms, quote, follows accepted corrections practices nationwide. Wow. For more, our guest is retired Arizona Deputy Warden Carl Torsbins. He's worked in corrections in Arizona and New Mexico for 25 years and actually worked at the Iman prison where this most recent incident occurred. He joins us on the phone from Moreno Valley, California. Thank you so much, Carl, for taking a few minutes with us.
Thank you, Debbie, for having me for the show today.
Carl, I have to say I'm just absolutely astounded, first of all, that this female teacher was left unguarded, unattended in a room full of sexual offenders, number one. Number two, I'm outraged about this comment that this kind of violence is accepted sort of danger in this kind of work. And number three, that there's been no discipline as a result of this. Do these things outrage you?
They certainly outrage me. I've been working on staff safety for many, many years, and one of the reasons why I took the role as an advocate for safety was to prevent or to intervene incidents like this, because we know that there is a growing culture out there that accepts this as a matter of routine because of the risk involved, and it's implied upon hire as an officer or civilians of work that you're going to get hurt. And when you use the word outrage, there is no outrage by government. There is no outrage by state officials, because they are telling us this is a part of your job. You are put at a higher risk because you're working inside of a prison. And that's not true. It hasn't been true for the last 30 years. There are risk factors that are involved in every case, in every situation, every scenario, or what we call situational awareness assessments, that allows you to make or adapt procedures to reduce the risks.
So how or why do you think this happened, Carl?
Well, Arizona traditionally, since 2007, has been reducing the amount of correctional staff that they've been put on the yards. Now, as they're reducing staffing, they're increasing populations. The Meadows unit has been double bunked and exceeded the design capacity now for at least 5 years, but in the meantime, the staffing pattern has shrunk. So instead of having a inmate ratio of 50 to 1, it is safe to say most of the time now the ratio is more like 250 to 1, and that burdens or taxes the security staff in the sense of having to cover all those areas. And then we create a situation, what I call out of sight, out of mind, where this teacher is left alone in a room, and the inmates are totally aware of how the security system has been overburdened, and that they don't come and make their hourly or even 30-minute checks like they're supposed to. And they're opportunists. They're, when you're looking at the behavior of the sex offender yards in Meadows Unit and Cook Unit at Iman, you'll see that they're highly manipulative, and that makes them high risk because they're always looking for a victim. And in this case, the victim was a teacher, and there is no outrage. It's being swept under the rug. The governor hasn't said one word about making any improvements, and this is not limited to Arizona. This is a culture that is growing nationally, that is burdening the prison system because of past policies of incarceration, putting us behind the 8 ball, you might say, because we don't have the funds and the staffing to keep up with the growth.
And Carl, that just leads me to ask, is it reasonable to assume, we've heard about this case, it somehow made it into the news media, but is it reasonable to assume that there are other attacks like this? You spent 25 years working in the prison industry. Is this pervasive in any way?
unfortunately, the answer to that is yes. There are many, many instances like this that are put under what we call damage control. Sanitized incident reports to where they downplay the severity and they somehow manage to, silence the witnesses and silence the victim. It's all about controlling the information going in and controlling the information going out. Corrections is traditionally a very code of silence type of organization. And so nobody talks about it because of the risk involved about talking, about the jobs. It happens a lot more than people realize. And that's where the outrage should be. The outrage should be, where is the accountability? Where are the tools that are designed to prevent these kind of things? Why aren't they implemented, and why aren't they reviewed on a regular basis to prevent things like this from developing?
So, of course, talking about just the problem and not solution is not very productive. And then, in your view, based on your experience, then how should this problem be addressed? Is this really just about money and resources, or is it about attitude and culture?
No, it's cultural. Prison culture is unfortunately one of those cultures that develop these kind of things as a routine. Okay, and what that means is that there's a lot of apathy involved in what goes on in prisons. Again, like I said, out of sight, out of mind. The public has to step. The solution is the public needs to get involved and ask more questions. The media needs to get involved and ask more, dig a little deeper instead of accepting the press release that's is a template response to any kind of situation. They need to go and dig deeper like this reporter did, because this was almost swept under the rug until the media actually went through the process of gaining and disclosing public documents, which I was very, very lucky to be involved in with this reporter. And we found out that what was even the rumor on the yard was not at all close to the facts.
Well, it is absolutely outrageous. I think that is the word for this story. We'll have to stop right there, but Carl Torsman, thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome.
And you're watching Arise America.